All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hero Nation Show, the place where business owners and entrepreneurs just like you come to learn tools and tactics to live more epic lives. I'm your host, John Rinehart, and today I am sitting across from the one and only Jennifer Pickett. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you, John?
I'm doing good. I am actually really excited about today's podcast. I've been preparing some questions for you. Now, for most of you guys that don't know Jennifer, Jennifer has done a lot of things in her life. She is definitely an entrepreneur, a businesswoman. She is a crazy mother. Right now, she is a coach. She is a dietitian, kind of like a nutritionalist. I mean, you've done everything. You've worked all the way from from multi-level marketing companies all the way through pharmaceuticals and now this. So I just got some good questions. Are you ready to jump in?
I'm so ready. Yeah, let's
all right.
go.
With so much fake information on health and nutrition out on the internet now, how do you differentiate in between what is truth, what is factual, and what is opinion?
I do a lot of research, and also you have to realize when someone's pushing an agenda. I tend to favor a more holistic approach. So I tend to favor physicians that are within functional medicine. So functional medicine is a term that means that they're getting to the root of the problem. We have a very broken healthcare system, so I kind of take that with a grain of salt. And so I listen for facts, but I also listen for very current, up-to-date research. We are constantly learning more and more. The reality is that we know more now than we used to know, and so guidelines need to be changed. So if you're listening to an expert and they're still talking about guidelines from 5-10 years ago, those are outdated. Okay,
so what would you recommend as warning flags for people who are kind of doing research on their own? They're kind of looking up stuff on health, nutrition, whatever. They saw an article on Facebook, they clicked on it from their friend. What are some warning flags that you would tell people to look at in order to be able to determine whether something is fake or real, or is it peppered with truth?
That's a fantastic question. I always like to look for reliable resources that list scientific references. They reference research.
Okay, so how do you determine what are reliable resources? Because I love some of these websites that I go to, and they give me the reliable sources, and it turns out to just be like a wonderful little loop. But they have like 10 or 12 like little different sources, but it's all from their own web page, or from some other blogger somewhere else who said something somewhere else. So what are you calling reliable?
Honestly, I think here's the reality. Someone who's trying to do their own research ends up getting very, very overwhelmed. Find an individual that you trust. This is the value of having a health coach. Find an individual that you trust that is putting out information that is simple, that is reliable, and that is trustworthy. Some of this information is overwhelming, and it's to such an extreme that someone feels like, I can't implement that. That would never fit in my life. Some of these very funky fad diets are simply not realistic. And people get very overwhelmed when they get stuck in that information loop. They get stuck in that research gathering loop. And we don't want to suffer from analysis paralysis. We want to implement some healthy changes. And I just believe that simple is what works. And that's what we need to depend on. There's some great blogs and websites out there, and you can tell it's simple information. They've got some fantastic experts that check out, and those are the ones that I rely upon the most.
Okay, so I have 3 different questions from that one statement. Okay. So you said finding people that you trust, health coach or whoever, how do you understand who to trust? Because I think that's part of the issue, right? Is that there are so many people with opinions. There are so many gurus. There are so many different people. There are so many beauty bloggers to Instagram models giving out health information. How do you figure out who to trust?
I trust people with experience and education. So I think it's fantastic that there's some influencers out there. They've got a following. They're offering some health advice. My preference is to trust functional medicine physicians. Maybe these physicians have been in traditional healthcare in the past, but they have transitioned to functional medicine. They've got the facts to back it up. They've got the experience to back it up, but they're also approaching this with a certain degree of realness and vulnerability in sharing their story. And that's how I know that they are trustworthy. They've got the education, the experience, and they're very genuine.
Okay, so the other thing I heard you say in that one, which I wanted to ask, you said some of these fake fad diets. What are some of the fake fad diets that are out there?
Oh, wow. Where do we start? I mean, it goes all the way back to the grapefruit diet, and keto is a huge thing now, paleo diet.
So are you saying that keto is a fad? Is a fake one? You saying that the paleo is a fake one too?
I don't like diets, period. I don't like diets. I don't think diets work. By definition, a diet is something you start and then you stop. What happens when you stop? You go back to how you were doing things, and then if your goal was weight loss, well, in reality, you're going to regain the weight. That weight's probably going to invite some friends, and that really, this whole weight loss cycling that we do because we're depending on diets really messes up our metabolism. So again, if you listen to the most reliable experts, they're saying ditch the diet, follow an overall healthy lifestyle that doesn't just look at the foods you put in your mouth, but looks at your stress, your sleep, moving your body, etc. So that we're putting this all together in a very, very holistic approach.
Okay, with different people, let's say some of the people that are listening to this podcast, they're business owners, they're entrepreneurs, they're type A kind of personalities. They get up, they go, some of them they kind of go, look, I don't really have time to do this. I don't sleep that much. I work, 10 to 16 hours a day, at least 6 days a week. I really don't have time for complicated recipes. I don't have time for, I'm going to measure everything, put everything in this little bag. I'm going to do this whole process. What do you have to say to those people, and how can your approach of a lifestyle versus the dieting actually help when, in fact, their lifestyle is
busy?
It's very busy.
Busy, yes. I certainly relate to that busy lifestyle. I mean, I'm a business owner. I'm a mom. I've got 2 kids in middle school. We're involved in our church and our community. There's a lot going on. I will tell you, I believe we're all warriors. We are facing battles every single day. Our health is either going to equip us and empower us with those battles, or our health will defeat us and ultimately destroy us. As a mom, I have very quickly found that if I continue to burn the candle at both ends, I'm only going to last so long. And so that's why it's so imperative for me to level up my self-care so that I can continue working at this optimal level. So if I want to excel in business, if I want to excel as a wife and as a mom, as a community leader, I've got to take care of my health, because at some point, my health, my body will wave the white flag and go, I can't do this anymore. So to further answer that question, simple is what works. A complicated meal plan, a funky fad diet, counting calories, counting macros. A very busy professional does not have time for that. So always my best nutrition advice is stick to real whole foods. These are real foods. You know what they are, okay? So that's an apple, that's chicken, that's broccoli. These are real whole
crispy chicken
foods.
Sandwich at Wendy's? Is that what we're talking about?
I don't think so. I don't think
McDonald's
so.
hamburger? I know what that is. That's all beef. Wendy's. 100% beef, never frozen. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, not necessarily, but thank you for asking, John.
Hey, just gotta see if we got.
Gotta sneak it in there, right?
Yeah.
But I think you bring up a great point. We live in a crazy, hectic society. We're very, very busy. We've got all kinds of things going on. These things are going to be necessary sometimes for us. The reality is that we're going to be going out to eat, but it's what we do a majority of the time. It's what we do 80% of the time. That's what matters the most. For most of us, we're not doing that great 80% of the time. We're burning the candle at both ends. We're not getting sleep. We're eating too much processed foods. We're not moving our body. We're not managing stress. And our energy level, our creativity starts to show it.
Right.
If we want to be clicking on all levels, we've got to level up with our self-care.
So to kind of switch subjects here a little bit, you've gone through several different industries in your kind of entrepreneurial journey, going from like pharmaceuticals to network marketing or multi-level marketing, and then moving into kind of the nutritionalist and kind of coaching stuff. What has been, so first of all, like, what was it like moving from like pharmaceuticals into network marketing?
Well, now there was a lot of years in between there.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, there was a lot of years in between there.
Skipping a jump.
No, there was a lot of years in between there. So, I'm a dietitian by profession. That's what my degree is in. I have a master's degree in human nutrition. By the way, that could very well be a useless master's degree. I wish someone had said, hey, you might want to consider your MBA instead. I think that would have been great advice. But I took the advice that was given to me, and I have a master's in human nutrition. So started off as a dietitian, and when my husband got a job in Texas, I thought, I'm moving to big city Dallas from Jackson, Mississippi. I'm going to continue being a dietitian, specifically in oncology. I have just a passion for oncology.
So were you working on your own at that point, or were you working in hospitals?
I was working in the hospital as an oncology dietitian. And when I moved to Dallas, my intention was, again, to be an oncology dietitian, to really get fully involved in research. And what I quickly discovered is that, oh, wait, all of these great cancer centers in Dallas, they don't hire dietitians. They don't have dietitians on their staff, even though that is absolutely important. They don't do that. And so in the meantime, I got a job offer from a pharmaceutical company in oncology, Bristol Myers Squibb Oncology. And in that job, I was discussing research every single day. So I loved digging into the research in oncology, discussing the research with physicians. What I loved the most is that my nurses, my doctors at all of the cancer centers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they knew I was a dietitian, and they utilized me to speak at their patient support groups, etc. So I got to do what I loved. I truly loved coming alongside folks and helping them and encouraging them on that journey. And then I walked away from that amazing pharmaceutical job when my first child was born to be a stay-at-home mom.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what was it like starting your first multi-level marketing company?
It was different. It was a big jump for me. I had been doing some of my own thing in wellness. I am very, very skeptical by nature, especially with regard to anything in this health and wellness industry. That's how they taught me. They taught me to be skeptical. And so when it came to this supplement that I came across on Facebook, my first reaction was, she should be ashamed of herself for even talking about it. I was ashamed of my friend. She was a friend of mine from church. But it got my attention. I was curious what she was talking about. And even though I was skeptical, I did decide to try the supplement. I tried it in secret. I had just lost my mom a couple of months ago, and I was honestly desperate to feel better. I felt like my world was spinning out of control, but I was kind of holding that mask in place, like I have it all together. And I decided to try this supplement in secret, and really discovered that I liked how I felt. I felt like my body was more balanced. I was sleeping better at night. My gut issues were resolved. I just noticed some very positive differences. But when it came to working it as a business, that was a huge, huge hurdle for me. I did not like network marketing. I had never had a good experience with others who did network marketing. And so it literally took me 6 months of thinking about it, agonizing over it, praying about it, researching all of the ingredients, all of the products to the nth degree before I made a decision to start offering those products to others and having my own network marketing business. And I will tell you, it's been one of the best decisions that I've ever made because of the lives that I've been able to impact and the experience that I gained. It's been a beautiful journey of growth and leadership development and being able to help a lot of people. So it's been an interesting experience. I've enjoyed it.
So what was the shift then again, kind of moving from that into the coaching space? What did you take with you into into that process, and you're like, oh yeah, this actually works? And what things did you try to take with you that you found out didn't work?
Great question. So the main thing that I took with me and the journey, how this worked, is I kept feeling like we're missing something. Something is missing. So part of me moving into the coaching space was my own personal frustration with my health journey, but also seeing others, they're trying supplements or they're doing a little funky fad diet. What are we missing? Why are we not reaching the goals on our health journey that we want to reach? So a lot of this desire to coach others came out of that frustration. So that's why I made the leap to coaching, because that's truly my first love. I love working one-on-one with folks and getting to dig in. I love helping people identify the obstacles that have defeated them in the past. What are those barriers? What are those roadblocks that they keep running up against? What I found was missing is that we keep taking this single-sided, lopsided approach. So, for instance, when people use a supplement, typically they may just use a supplement and that's it. That's a very single-sided, lopsided approach. Sometimes people will just do extreme exercise and then eat whatever they want. That's another great example of a very single-sided approach. So that's why I wanted to move into the coaching space, so I could make more of an impact with individuals by working with them and coaching them one-on-one.
Okay, so I mean, I hear what you're saying. Now, how much of, these areas or problems or issues that people have had are nutrition based, and how many of them are actually just habit based?
So much of our habits have to do with nutrition. But I will tell you, John, that so many folks, even if they're just kicking it on a nutrition level, like they've got some great nutrition habits. If they're not addressing stress management and they're not addressing sleep, they will still fall short. We still have to get to the root of the issue and take a very, very holistic approach. And that's what I do in my coaching, because I'm encompassing all of this together: physical health, mental and emotional health, and spiritual health as well.
So what are 5 things that people could do today to change how they feel tomorrow?
Oh, I love it. This is good stuff. Okay. Number 1, get a good night's sleep. At least 7 hours. And I know for some of these high achievers, that's asking a lot. But sleep is your body's only chance to reset and restore. Okay? So the body can only go so long without sleep. At some point, it starts shutting down. So number 1, sleep at least 7 hours a night. Number 2, drink water. Drink water.
Preferably in a Hero Nation bottle cup. Available at HeroNation.com. No, they're actually not, but yeah, they look pretty good. All right.
Yeah. So number 2, drink your water. You're aiming for half of your body weight in ounces. A lot of times people think they're hungry. They're actually thirsty. Their body is dehydrated. So drinking water makes a huge impact. Number 3, beware of processed foods. We have a food industry that does not care about our health. All they care about is making money. And so they just want to have foods that can remain on the shelf for a long time. So switch to those real whole foods and lower your amount of processed foods, and that makes a big difference.
So sausage is okay, Slim Jim is okay, jerky's okay, hamburgers are okay.
There's a few of those that are okay if they don't have the nitrates and the nitrites.
Hang on.
You were trying to get me. I know what you're trying to do, John. But switching to a more plant-based diet where we're getting in more vegetables, we're decreasing the amount of sugar, we're decreasing the amount of processed foods, makes a big difference when our body is getting those vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants that we desperately need. Number 4 is look at the stress in your life. Now, it would be cruel of us to say, hey, reduce your stress. That's not the reality.
So what you're telling me is get a divorce, throw the kids out of the house.
No. Can I interrupt you? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that
at all.
You said
decrease stress.
No.
I was coming up with a solution.
Well, that's
for
where
everyone.
you interrupted me too soon. It would be cruel to say reduce stress. Reducing stress is very challenging, right? I mean, life happens, but we have to manage stress. What will it take so that we can manage our body's response to stress? Stress drives inflammation. We know inflammation is at the root of most of our diseases. It also ages us. So we have to look at the stress in our life and our response to that stress. And then the last thing, I'm going to say it, you need a probiotic. Gut health is where it's at, and you've got to have more healthy bacteria in your diet. It's very difficult to get that from the foods that you eat. So out of all the supplements, I would say a good probiotic is one of the most important ones.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you being on. As always, guys, the Hero Nation show is brought to you by Hero Nation Fuel. If you're not part of Fuel, go ahead and sign up. Go on to theheronation.com. Sign up. Get in there. Get into like some of these small groups. Get into people that have different expertise, that are on the journey just like you, so that you can go ahead, you can make leapfrogs ahead, that you can move on to the next level and really be able to have real good conversations like we had today. Tap into some expertise around you and get further on. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, be your own hero.
Thanks, John.